Welcome to the Harvesting Wisdom podcast. Together we explore the vast landscapes of life, delving into the rich soil of experiences, sowing the seeds of curiosity, and harvesting the profound wisdom that each episode unfolds. Okay, welcome to another podcast of Harvesting Wisdom. I'm your host, Mike McMahon. Today, I'm only going to spend a few minutes and I'm going to describe one of the latest trips I've just taken to Europe. And because we podcasted in Europe. And basically, I was in multiple locations, but where I podcasted, I'll describe kind of the purpose of each one. I went to Florence and I met, a brother from a different mother, um, and he was probably the same age or a little older than me. Very active. He's written 3 books. He's ahead of the game for me. The same um, concepts in his books that I have in mine, and that I've got to finish. But he's really kind of a pioneer and very well respected in Florence, and his farm sits up on top of the hills, looking down at the city of Florence. It's you get the hair stands up on the back of my head when I think about it. But he was growing 40 different variety. He's been doing what he calls ultra bioattivo, which is, I guess, an Italian term that talks about people farming, more small scale, less industrial. Bioactivo, of course, is the use of organic biology, and he had a composting method similar to what we do, but he was started the process, the thermophilic process, for a month or so, and then put everything into a windrow for another 5 or 6 months. But he put it in the forest area, so it sat there. I think probably got a little bit more fungal, to its diversity of microbes. But then he would take that and he'd spread it everywhere. He used it everywhere. He had olives as well, large olive quantity with all the vegetables he was growing. He has not used fertilizers, pesticides, fungicides, or any kind of weed killer, in over 12 years. The vegetables were delicious. The farm was super organized and gorgeous, and just a great guy. He took me back to my hotel, or the villa I had in Florence, and we went through the farmers market. A bunch of farmers came up and embraced him and gave me free, delicious wine and breads and different things that they were doing. I could really see the community, and see his influence in the community. We also went to one of the, I think, 30 restaurants that he supplies. And same thing, the owners, a husband and wife, came out and gave us a bunch of food and a cocktail or wine. And you're in such a great place there in Italy. Almost anything grows no matter what. But doing it sustainably, worrying about the actual quality, that's a very Italian thing. So again, watch that podcast. So I'd love all of you to watch this, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Also, if you can, please subscribe. Our subscription makes a big difference for us. It makes it a lot easier for us to push stuff out to you. We also don't want you to miss anything that might be coming up. We're talking about the transition from conventional farming, where maybe your father, your grandfather even used chemicals and machines. But there's a trade-off. If you're doing it this way, you don't have the cost of fertilizers and insecticides. You don't have the cost of machines or gas, but you have probably more labor. But more labor is okay because people need to work. And customers. And now customers who rely on a good quality vegetable, and you've got 40 different vegetables. If they are a real chef and they have a restaurant, or if they have a small store, or if they're homeowners and they want quality for their body, they know that they can come here. For other people, they don't pay attention. It's a different story.
Con l'Università di Firenze ehm,
In this regard, we wanted to test ourselves by conducting clinical trials with the University of Florence. And
sul benessere dei nostri prodotti verso le persone.
we had 2 clinical trials in the space of 6 years, but with few people and in a short time.
In tutti e due i trial abbiamo avuto
In both trials, we had statistically significant results.
le persone hanno avuto un netto miglioramento del loro microbioma intestinale.
People had a marked improvement in their gut microbes. So you didn't just test plants, you tested people too. Okay.
Questo per noi è il risultato più importante che abbiamo avuto.
This is the most important result we have ever achieved, and it is the reason why we are still here at this moment.
Abbiamo in questo momento 200 famiglie che ogni settimana prendono i nostri ortaggi.
We currently have 200 families who buy our vegetables every week.
Inoltre abbiamo acquisito altre 2 aziende oltre quella dove siamo noi.
We also acquired 2 other companies in addition to the one we are located. Okay. So you're expanding and scaling. Okay.
Perché il risultato è talmente
You've had very positive feedback. Okay.
senza fare alcuna pubblicità.
Without doing any advertising. So you've scaled without
Ma
advertising.
raccontiamo solamente quello che facciamo.
You know what it's going to say? Only you talked about what you did and your clients were happy. That's all that matters. So the word of mouth, they do it. Interesting. It's interesting because I sell our products in the desert, 40 degrees in the winter. When we've got hot temperatures, and we have sand, and it's also more alkaline. You're neutral here now, but maybe you were alkaline before, but now you've become more neutral. We've used this and done trials with the university in Arizona with radicchio and the same results. So yeah, we did a trial with the university in sandy soil in Yuma, Arizona, and we used the same radicchio as our trial, and we saved about 40% on the water, and the radicchio, the roots, are here. The roots on the plants with conventional, with fertilizer, are here. Because this ultimately saves water too. Do you test for water savings?
Yes. Facciamo dei test.
We're currently running some empirical tests on water savings by calculating the times for each zone. But now we've bought some equipment that will install throughout the company with a LoRa network, and we'll have all the data on our phones. Oh, good. So technology and ancient methods.
L'agricoltura rigenerativa ha bisogno della tecnologia, non siamo luddisti.
Regenerative agriculture needs technology. We are not Luddites. Okay, exactly. Right? So, in people's imagination, we think that we practice natural agriculture without any criteria, but instead, we use scientific tools that are much more refined than those of chemical agriculture, of course. So, have you tested the soil carbon at all?
Aggiungendo biochar.
Oh, biochar.
Biochar.
Very good for bacterial, for vegetable. And do you make biochar here?
Buy
We buy the biochar. So you buy in some biochar, but you inoculate it with your compost before you use it? Yes. Okay. So biochar, for people who are in the industry know, is a bacterial product, but it also holds microbes. It's a beautiful house, a condominium for microbes. Right? And it's also very good for drainage because the biochar takes a long time to break down. So it's a great product for what you're primarily growing here. So, yeah, good. How about any other material? How about any other minerals, zeolite or anything else? You've got a pretty good balance of minerals right here already.
Sì, zeolite.
A little bit of zeolite.
Sì,
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like a condominium and it holds water. So it's another good one. Tuscany is a volcanic area and it is full of zeolite. So it's perfect. And then I imagine in Tuscany, because the soil is a little more alkaline, that people are using gypsum maybe. But once you start getting the carbon right and the microbes right in your soil, you no longer need to add that calcium. Right. So you get the balance. Okay.
In this area, questa è un'area che noi usiamo per far arrivare l'acqua quando piove in modo da far riempire le nostre falde.
You bring water when it rains so that it can absorb into the soil and have water in the aquifers for irrigation. Yes. Okay. So this is your.
It's very important.
This is your sink. This is your.
It's very important.
Yeah. Your water basin right here. So you got mulches.
Sì. Sì.
Mulch is an armor, soil armor. So when it rains, no problem. So there's no runoff. A lot of places, the orchard will be graded down to the dirt, to the soil. And when it rains, everything runs off. And if there's chemicals, those chemicals run off and they get down into this basin that natural basin he's created. And now you have toxicity. Italian cypress. You don't call them Italian cypress, but they're cypress. You call them Italian. In the United States, we call those Italian cypress. In Italy, you just call them cypress.
Questi cipressi li ho piantati io perché sono quelli, siccome hanno il radice fittonante, permettono all'acqua di andare subito nella falda.
They have a taproot that allows water to go immediately into the aquifer. Yeah, nice and deep, keeping the soil broken up.
Mentre queste piante, this plant, do you know?
I've seen it.
No? Do you know?
This plant is considered a high riparian place in the basin. Okay, so not natural.
Sì, ma per noi questa è una pianta importantissima perché la facciamo fermentare ed ha un potere fortissimo sul terreno.
But for us, this is a very important plant because we ferment it and it's a very strong effect on the soil. Yes.
Allora, per la maggior parte degli agricoltori questo è un castigo di Dio, per noi è una benedizione.
So most farmers, this is a punishment from God. For us, it's a blessing. In Korean farming, there is no good and there's no bad. There's only one, and you need all products.
Esatto.
Right. So you're using that. Perfect.
Qui replichiamo qui replichiamo in piccolo i nostri esperimenti per capire le migliori composizioni.
Here we replicate our experiments on a smaller scale to understand the best composites. So this, volcanic. This is
Volcanic,
pumice. Yeah,
volcanic,
good. Right.
esatto.
The pumice. It's good. It separates.
Vai, tu,
Chock full.
patate,
No
potato,
space. Ah, you got your potatoes.
potato, cipolle.
Hi. And what different blends do you have? What different minerals have you tried or different soils have you tried?
Principalmente misuriamo le proporzioni fra il compost e le altre qualità del terreno che abbiamo.
Yes. Yes. You're always looking for aeration.
Esatto, esatto.
So
Qui guardiamo l'acqua, qui dentro, e qui invece abbiamo i worm.
These are your worms. Fermenting it here.
Sì, e poi da qui va direttamente agli impianti.
Okay. And now you put this directly in? So this is an injector system that takes the liquids that you're making. And you only need a little bit of liquid. How old are the olives here? Is it an old vineyard orchard?
Questi olivi hanno circa 30
years.
30 anni.
30 years. The olives now look just as good or even better since you started 12 years ago. So you're saying olives and the potatoes. With the leaves of the olive trees, we make a micronized powder.
It's very good for...
Especially for the olives.
Sì.
Yes.
Sì.
Because you're using the same plant,
Sì.
which is how the forest works,
Sì.
right?
Ora qui non ce l'abbiamo, ma...
So what he's telling me is that they will take the leaves from the olive and they'll grind them down into a powder, and they make a micronized powder that goes in with the compost. This is really critical because if you look at a tree like any kind of orchard tree, a fruit tree of any sort, typically in nature, the leaves will fall off once a year, and those leaves will add as protective soil, but they'll also ferment, biodegrade, and they're the best thing that you can use to feed the roots. So he's doing it in an accelerated standpoint by creating this powder and feeding it directly into the root zone. So your book is The Origins, how your system was born, the bioactive method, 5 pillars. I have books too that I wrote, 7 pillars of agriculture literacy. Soil is a living organism, right? Vermicompost, worms, bacterial bioreactors, and trichoderma. Vermicompost tea, the CSA model. Here's university research, resilience and climate. Climate and resilience from bacteria and fungal. This sequesters carbon, no more climate problem. Cultivated biodiversity, again using many different plants. Philosophy and inspirations for Pluto, Barry, Steiner, some of the other older guys. Living thought, balcony garden. Yes, we have rooftop gardens, and then future visions with robotics. You and me, brothers, brothers from different mothers, in different places, is exact. So I've got the same thing I'm writing. Since COVID, I started 6 books, but I've got one little book finished on worms in schools because our nonprofit is Urban Farming Education is my nonprofit, and part of that. So you just saw my soil, seed, and water website, which is my business. I also have a landscape business, which I get all my tree material from, my wood chips. But my nonprofit is Urban Farming Education. With urban farming education, I have the podcast, Harvesting Wisdom. We also have a environmental film festival in Arizona with over 50 countries and 230 films. And the idea of the nonprofit, we've built a education system from preschool to senior level at high school for children on understanding biology and soil understanding. It's a STEM curriculum, and it's based on gardening, working in the outside. And it's hopefully can be used worldwide.
I understand.
One last thing. The last thing is my goal is to teach children around the world that this is a better system, to change the agriculture system, which is causing so much damage to the planet, but to also improve food for people. But it has to be profitable or people won't make a switch. So farmers have to make sure that they know that they can make it. What I'm trying to do now is get different people from all over the planet, including you, to do a documentary film to show that this can be done growing anything and anywhere on the planet. Good? Okay. Partners.
Okay.
Good?
Okay. Grazie,
Okay.
Michael.
You're my new movie star. Thank you for joining the Harvesting Wisdom podcast. Click subscribe and like for ongoing insightful conversations. Explore our webpage for show notes and additional resources. Visit our guests' webpage for deeper insights. Your engagement is the foundation of our journey, and until next time, keep pursuing wisdom.